Greetings, Bears fans. It's Erik Lambert from Sports Mockery. Usually we do the Mockery Minute, but today we're doing a Q&A where I answer your burning Bears questions. Well, let's look at the facts. The Bears have one of the best defenses in the league. They have the league's best pass rush with 18 sacks led by Khalil Mack. When you have something like that at your disposal, it's a lot easier to win football games. The big question on everybody's mind is, can the offense at least complement them? They showed last week when they scored 48 points and Mitch Trubisky threw 6 touchdown passes. This is definitely possible. If they can sustain that the rest of the year, there isn't a team in this league they can't beat. I predicted initially that they'd go 9-7, but after seeing what I've seen so far, I think 10-6 is a definite possibility, and as we all know, 10-6 usually gets you into the playoffs. All things considered, I think Matt Nagy's called some really good games over the course of the first month. He's gotten receivers wide open quite a bit, especially in that Bucs game as we saw. So he knows what he's doing in that regard. He just needs to make sure he attacks more, which was always a problem in the first 3 games. He called a lot of screens, a lot of short passes, and teams were really climbing up on them, suffocating them, not allowing them to get going. That changed against the Bucs. Now, as for Trubisky, I think he's been making progress over the course of the first month consistently. Sure, that didn't always show up in the numbers, but he was making a lot of good throws, his mechanics were starting to improve, and his confidence, you could also see, was starting to improve. It's just a question of, can you have the patience to let him figure things out? And it looks like that's starting to happen. So I think all things considered, we're starting to see exactly what we were hoping for. It's just a question of letting it play out the rest of the year. Ryan Pace says all the right things. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders. He's young. He knows what he wants to do. He seems to have a plan, and that's always what you want from your GM. The one problem is, as with all GMs, head coaches, and the like, you gotta win. Ryan Pace had 3 straight losing seasons from 2015 to 2017, and if you don't win, people stop caring how good you might be in the draft or free agency. But now, the Bears are 3-1. They're in control of the NFC North, and we're finally starting to see the plan that is laying out that Ryan Pace had when he first took over. The young quarterback's coming along. The defense he's built is one of the best in the league. It's really exciting to see, but you always gotta win before you can think about declaring whether a guy's a success or not. Situations like this always come down to talent, and it's clear enough that James Daniels is the more talented of the two. Eric Kush right now is the more experienced, and that's going to hold water for a little while, but once Daniels starts to figure out how to play the position properly, he's going to get in there. Now, it's a question of when. The Bears inserted him against the Bucs on a number of offensive series, and he looked really good. The problem they always had with him coming into this year was that he wasn't very good at picking up stunts and blitzes. He didn't seem to struggle with that against the Buccaneers at all. So I think coming out of the bye week, it's a very strong possibility that he could start over Kush. Akeem Hicks wasn't suspended because he's never been in this kind of trouble before. He's not a repeat offender, and that matters in this sort of situation. Did he bump the ref? Yes. But did he do it maliciously and with intent to injure or humiliate the ref? It's hard to prove that from the camera angles we got, and we can only go by testimony, and in those situations you need to be careful about levying too hard of a punishment. So I think Hicks avoiding the suspension had to do both with his reputation and the lack of evidence. Matt Nagy has shown that his offense is going to change according to the opponent he faces. So players that are featured one week might not be featured the next, and that was the case with Jordan Howard against the Buccaneers. Tampa Bay had the number 3 run defense going into that game, so Jordan Howard probably wasn't going to have the best day, and that was true. He ran the ball 11 times for just 25 yards. Now the question moving forward is this going to be a trend with his carries starting to drop given the game that Tariq Cohen had? All things considered, it's not because of his diminishing impact on the offense that could end up getting him traded. It's the fact that his contract is starting to come up, and you can only pay so many people. The Bears already got done paying Kyle Fuller. They already got done paying Allen Robinson, and especially Khalil Mack with that massive new deal after they traded for him. You can't pay everybody. And with Mitch Trubisky's own contract coming up and the amount of money that's going to cost, it might end up costing them Howard. And I think trading him for draft picks, given how few they have next year, is something they're definitely going to have to consider. Be sure to subscribe down below and follow us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Erik Lambert, and thank you for joining us for our first Q&A. I'm going to be answering more of your questions in an article. Find it on my Twitter to see if I answered yours. Thanks for watching.
Go to Sports Mockery for Chicago sports news and commentary from those who know it best, the fans.